this doesn't work, we're going to quit. I'm just going to let y'all go home, and I'm going to blame it on the little guy that is very discourteous. Dang. I just want to see the little chemistry guy get in trouble. Fractions, decimals, and percent. Now the first part of this, I'm just going to show you the difference between 3, and of course most of y'all know that. But the second part, I'll show you the two types of questions you're going to get pretty much on the test. Of course, a fraction. If I have a pizza, and I divide it into 4 sections, then 4 out of 4 make up the whole. If I eat one piece, I've eaten a quarter, which is 0.25. If I eat 2 pieces out of the pizza, I've eaten 1/2, or 0.5. So on a fraction, the numerator is going to be the pieces that are taken, the pieces that are sold, the pieces that are subtracted, the pieces that are eaten, the pieces that are, in other words, something is done to those pieces. Whether they're thrown away, whether they're added to each other, whether they're subtracted to each other, and that is the numerator. Numerator represents the number that is affected. Affected. A-F-F-E-C-T-E-D. The denominator does not change. The denominator represents how many was in the original quantity. In this case, 4. It does not change. And that is basically a fraction. Now, the only way that the numbers will change is if you slice up the pizza in more than just 4 pieces. If you know when you're at home and you get hungry and you go put a DiGiorno's pizza, DiGiorno's is the best pizza. Okay? Cheese crust, that little stuffed crust. Put that in there, and if there's just 2 people, do you break it up into 15 slices? No. Most of you do it by quarters. And that way, and then if anybody wants a half of it for you, you cut it in half or whatever. But if you have a bunch of kids there, you maybe do it like that. And instead of 4 in the total, you have 8. Many people work at Pizza Hut and do that. That's 8. That quick. Then the numerator changes by how many is eaten, but the denominator does not change, but it does change from 4 to what? 8. So now 8 out of 8 is equal to a whole. And if you eat 3 pieces, then you've eaten 3/8 of the pizza. If you've eaten, and that comes out to be some number, that's not. And if you've eaten 4 pieces, then that's equal to 1/2. And you see that this reduces this into 1/2, just like the 2 out of 4. Because the 2 out of 4, if you take your handy dandy blue pencil, 2 out of 4 is the same as what? 2 out of 4 is the same as 4 out of 8. See? You still get the same thing, 1/2. Alright? So you 2 out of 4, 4 out of 8 still gives you the 1/2. Which is 0.5. Okay? Here's your 2 out of 4 right here. 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4. Here's your 2. So the blue is 2 out of 4. But 2 out of 4 also represents 4 out of 8. It represents the same thing. And that's where you get, and a lot of people will say, well, I don't understand how you get 2/4 is equal to 4/8. Well, that's how. 1, 2, 3, 4. That half of the pizza is still the same half that you, when you didn't have kids in the house, you broke it up into what? 2 pieces right there. The same thing. It's still the same half of the pizza. And that's how you get this right here. Okay? So that's why when you go to Lowe's and ask for a 50/100 wrench, why should you not wait for the person to find a 50/100 wrench? Because a 50/100 wrench is what? It's a half inch.
I did what you did, was trying to do all this food and lay it like.
What did you do?
No, like I gave her like change over, and I was just like,
What did she do?
she freaked out. Like
Yeah.
she was like, you gave me too much. I was like, no, I want it down back. This is what.
I did it too.
Okay, that person takes calculator and pulls them around on the finger.
It's yours to trust on the cat face.
Yeah. So you need to, now what you really need to do is go to Lowe's and ask for a 50/100 wrench, or ask for a level bulb. Tell them you need a level bulb and put it in the level. Somebody doesn't find it. All right, so that's a fraction. Now, how do you divide a fraction into, how do you make a fraction into a decimal? Well, you just do it. How do you make a fraction into a decimal? You just do it. Now, what does that mean? Well, 1 divided by 2. Well, what does that say? I'm going to take 2 and I'm going to what? Divide it into 1. 2 divided into 1. I'm doing it. I'm doing exactly what this says. 1 divided by 2. 1 divided by 2. 2 will go into 1. It will not go into 1. So you put a decimal here and you add a, and then you put a decimal there. 2 will go into 10 5 times. And there's your decimal. So the 3/8 that we did not have a decimal for a while ago. Is 8 divided into what? 8 will not go into 3. So you put a 0 and add 8 will go in there. How many times? 3 times? They go 24. 60. 8 times what? 8 times 7 is 56. Well, you get the point. 56, and that'll be 4. So your decimal for 3/8 is 0.375. Well, how do you make a decimal into a fraction? Well, you got to remember your place value. Okay? What place value is that 5 in? The hundredths, right? So you put 75 over what? And now you reduce. 5 will go into 75, or 25 will go into 75, whatever you want to do. 3 what? And here's how you turn a decimal into a fraction. Decimal into a fraction and fraction into decimal, that's basically 2 different forms of the number. Alright? It's 2 different forms. What about percentage? Well, percentage is not really a different form. Percentage is another form of the decimal. Where this is different from this, and this is different from this, the percent is not really different from the decimal. It's just another way of writing it. What does percent mean? Well, if anybody ever watched Andy Griffith, Barney tells you what centus means. Centus is Latin for what?
That's a great question.
Okay, cent, centipede, century, centennial. Y'all are smart. Centus is Latin for 100. Okay? Somebody tell me what per means. What does per, PER? What does per mean? Miles per hour. Means divided by. So somebody tell me what percent means.
Divided by, like, I don't know, always.
Divided by 100. Yeah, I really want y'all to read this.
Oh my God.
Divided by 100. So if you have 25%, what is that? And now you have a fraction, which can be written as a decimal. So the difference between these two is just the way it's written. It's not really a different form. It's just written a little bit different. Be careful here because some of y'all will go haywire and put 50 and get it wrong. 0.05 because 5% is 5 over 100, and when you divide by 100, you count the number of zeros and move that decimal place 2 places to the left, right? So that would be 5, 1, 2. The answer there is 0.05. Now, what if I have a decimal and I want to write it as, what if I have a decimal and I want to write it as 80%? 0.375 is a perfect example. 0.355. How did I get 375 out of that? 375. Okay. If percent means over 100, then changing to percent means multiply by 100, right? If you multiply by 100, you move the decimal place what? 2 places to the right. Uno, dos. So when you're moving from a decimal to a percent, you multiply by 100. Of course, 90% of you remember this, and some of you just now learned a few things. You don't need to raise your hand on any of it. Just keep your mouth quiet. Just keep on moving. Now, how many of these will be on the test? Probably none. But the next problem we go over will be on the test. The first type of problem that you're going to see is called a sentence problem. Now, most of you have seen these, and these are all over standardized testing. You take the SAT, the PSAT, the Compass, the nursing exam, whatever kind of exam you take to go to Michelin, whatever kind of exam you take to get into Bosch, you're going to take a standardized test, and it's going to have one of these on it, if not more. 15 is what? Percent of 42. 40% of 56 is what number? And I can think of the next one is, let's see, is of Okay, 56 or 52 is 30% of what number? There's your three type of questions you'll see with a sentence type question. If you notice, 15 is what percent? The percent is X. 40% of 56 is what number? Is the X. And 52 is 30% of what number? Of is the X. So what those three things, you put them in a formula, and then all you have to do is plug and chug. And that formula is what? Is of equals percent over 100. That's the formula. And so far, I have done neither. 20 years, that's the only two things I haven't done.
Falling down
My zipper being... And for guys, it's easy to do because when you get up in the morning and throw on your clothes,
Don't
it's
even.
really easy to forget.
Don't even.
Okay, I'm sorry. We just
Don't.
have it so hard in the morning. Yeah, I know.
My hair done is worse.
Yeah, mine too. I'm having a bad hair day today. Oh, I forgot. Mine's perfect. Okay. 15 is what percent of 42? What do you do? Well, you go through and you find out what goes with what. Now, this is real simple. Don't make it hard. 15 is what percent of 42? So 15 goes where? On the top. Of 42 equals X over 100. And now you just cross multiply and solve. No, y'all. Trying to teach it. 15 is what percent? Just multiply across. You get 42x is equal to 1500. Now take your calculators out. Notice I said take your calculators out because you what? You need them unless you're Rain Man. Divide by 42. Divide by 42. X is equal to, somebody do that for me. Some of you that were on the calculator drill team in high school.
0.02.
Huh?
0.02.
0.028. And that is what? 2.8 what? Percent. So 15 is 3% of 42. Or 2.8% to be precise. All right, now you try the next two. And if you can't do them, then just chalk it up as your failure. Quit school so you can live where? In the ditch. In the ditch. What'd you say? Blue, you don't like it? Okay, I'll change it. Anything for you, Mr. Williford? change it to black. So, what goes in the percent spot? The percent spot. 40%, so that's 40 over 100. Of 56. What goes in the is spot? Cross multiply. 100x is equal to 40 times 56. Now you really don't need a calculator here, because what's 10% of, or 10%, you could say 10 times 560 is what? Or 56 is 560, and multiply that times 4, you can do that, which would be 40. Well, I'm sorry, yeah, I had an extra zero. So you could do that, and then divide by 100, so you knock off move it 2 places. What do you come up with? Or do it in your calculator. Let's see, 4 times 56 would be 24. I think it'd be 2420, would it not? 2420, and then 24.2. What do you get? Huh? 2240, okay. And then 2240 divided by 100 would be 22.4. That's what I was trying to do. 22.4. So, 40% of 56 is what? Well, let's check that with a little bit of common sense. What's half of 56? 28. So, is that about right? 50% of 56 would be what? 28. 40% is 22. About right. All right, what do you do here? 52 goes where? On the is spot. What goes in the of spot? And then what goes in the percent spot? Over. X is equal to 5200. You do not need a calculator. Because what happens to the zeros when you divide 30 into 2 of the zeros cancel, and then you divide 3 into 52, then dangle 16 is 48, and that'll leave 40. So I done lost it. But anyway, 3 will go in there 1 time, 7 times, 1 time, 22, 7, and 10. 3 might help me out. And then I want to repeat. So 173.3. So 52 is 30% of 173. So your sentence problems, that's what's going to be on your standardized test. You might see 1 or 2 on your Unit 1 test. Most of the time you're going to see word problems. So let's talk about that. Because, again, 90% of you have no problem with this. 10% of you go, okay, I like that. I've never seen that before. And then maybe 1% of you are going, I don't want to use it. You use whatever you want. All right, Walmart equation. This is something I came up with a long time ago. Everybody uses it. You just don't know it. Because everybody has went into a store. Yeah, just leave. Have went into a store with $5 or $10 in their pocket. this is before debit cards, okay? Before debit cards, you walked into a store, or for those that never had a debit card, okay? Some of you were kids, and you walked into a store with $10. What could you get? Well, you would estimate, wouldn't you? You'd go, okay, well that's $4.97, but I'm not going to say $4.97. I'm going to say $5. And what is? This is show you how out of touch I am. What is the taxes in Anderson right now?
6, 7.
Oh, I thought it was 7. Is it 6? All right. So what you do is you multiply 5 times 6, and then what do?
Yeah.
Add that 30 cent back to what? The $5. Everybody's done that, right? Then that's what the Walmart equation is. You take the total plus or minus the percent total is equal to the total that you pay, or not the total price. So this is the Walmart equation. X plus or minus percentage X is equal to the total. This is something I came up with when I started teaching like my second semester. And a lot of people, the first couple of semesters I taught it, I got these people that have been in mathematics that would go, well, why don't you just use the sentence problems and da-da-da. Well, there's some problems you can't use the sentence problem for. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you're walking down the main action alley. You know, I worked at Walmart when you call it the main action alley. All right, you walk down and you got a dang old bin, y'all know the type, and it's sitting in the main action alley, and it's got teddy bears, or I can't draw teddy bears, so we're just going jewel boxes. There. Jewel boxes. Okay, anyway. It's a fancy, let's say, lockbox. That's what it is, lockbox. And it's $27.97. All right? No, let's don't do that, because you can do that with the cents problem. Let's do 20% off. 23% off. All right? 23% off. We can do 20% off, it doesn't matter. But we're going to do 23% off. And you, at Walmart, and you look for the tag that has price on it, and guess what? It's nothing. Okay, because you're Walmart, not Target. All right? So, because you know what Target stands for, don't you? Pay the extra money not to go to Walmart. That's what it stands for. So you got a tag and it's ripped off, and you don't know how much it costs. But you know it's 23% off, and you need one, so you want to get it. So, what is the total price? You go up to the scanner, one of the scanner things, and it scans like it's cash register for $57.13. Okay, now you're not wanting to talk. You're not talking about taxes, because I'm not asking you what the final price is after taxes. All right, I want you to tell me what the original price on the price tag is. Okay? You ask me a question. And I start texting when you ask me a question. You can't say a word. Next time I'm going to say something else. What did I tell y'all? I treat you the way what? Now what is that? It is disrespectful and rude. All right. I'm not mad at you or anything. Don't go walk out of here saying I'm mad at you. I'm not mad at you. You need to stop you before I have to say the second thing to you. Second time I say something a little bit rough. Third time I ask you to leave. All right. So most people go, oh, I know how to do this. Take 57.13, multiply by 23, take it off. And you're wrong. You are wrong. So now that I've told you that your way is wrong, do it another way. Oh, no, do it. Well, use the Walmart equation. X, we don't know X, do we? Are we taking off or are we adding? So it'll be X minus 0.23X is equal to 57.13. Now this is what gets everybody. I go down here and I say 0.77X is equal to 57.13. divide by 0.77. And then somebody does that in the calculator for me. And what do you get? Don't worry, I'll get to that in just a minute, because I know somebody's dying.
And I
Yeah.
got 74,
How much?
74.11.
Is that what everybody got?
I don't know, we just saw.
I'm asking anybody else. Now, where did this 0.77 come from? Whenever I teach this type of problem, or whether I teach an algebra problem, that's what this is, I always get, where did that 0.77 come from? Well, go back and look. There's something in front, that's a zero. Let me ask you a question. If that was a zero, what would that zero do to this first term? Zero times anything is what?
Zero.
And there wouldn't be any use for this term, would there?
No,
So it's not 0, it's what?
1.
And 1 minus 23 cents is what? 77 cents. And that's how you do the Walmart equation. Whenever you want to find the original price of something, this one is the one to use. Now you can do it with the sentence problems, but it takes 2 or 3 steps. And it's not worth teaching, because this is a whole lot easier. Now let's do it the way that y'all think y'all do it. 57.13 times 23%. Somebody do that for me. She already had it written down. 13 what? 13.15. And subtract that from this. What do you get? Or add it, I'm sorry. Add it to it. What do you get? I'm sorry, what? And that's why you'll get it wrong, because that is the correct answer. You cannot, remember this, you cannot back in an original price. You can't do it, because you're assuming that the final price is the price that you're taking the percentage off of. You can't do that. I'm here. What are you confused about?
Okay, at the bottom where you have, I don't know, I'm just really lost.
All right, do you understand this formula?
Yeah,
All right.
I got that, like I got writing that down, but then I got,
All right, what's 1 minus 0.23?
oh, okay.
$1 minus 23
Yeah.
cents is equal to 77 cents. And then to get rid of multiplying by 0.77, you divide by 0.77 and you get that. This is an example of how not to do it. I'm sorry. They teach, well, what happens is they teach you the problem like this. This is what they teach you. They teach you, you got a shirt,
Wow.
that costs $27, and it is 20% off. They want to know the final price. They teach you those. And then they tell you the original price, and then you're supposed to, and you can't go backwards with it. So,
So that goes like 20% and 50 cents is different from 20%, 7.40.
exactly. Because you cannot take it off of the final price. Because you don't know what the original price was. You have to know what the original price was in order to back it off. You can't do it. You can't go this way if you want to know the original price. So this would be 27. This is the one you could actually do the sentence problem on. 27% or 20% of 27 is, and then do another step. Or you could do the Walmart equation. Oops, sorry. You could do the Walmart equation and just do 27. And what is off minus 0.2 of 27 is equal to the total cost. Now, you don't need a calculator for this, because 10% of 27 is what? 2.7, that's right, 2.7, and then 20% would be 5.4. 5.4 off of this would be what, 21.6? So your answer should come out to be 21.6. Somebody check it with your calculator. Of course it is. Now, you should be able to do that in the store too. You go to Belks, and Belks has a shirt, blouse, whatever, and it's on the table and it says 30% off, and the tag says $27, but it's marked through, and then it says $15.60. Well, you're going to get 30% off of $15.60. Well, 10% would be what? 1.56. So what do you do to 10% to get 30? Multiply by 3. So you take that 10%, multiply it by 3, and dang old 8, 6, or 4, $4.68 off of this would be dang old what? That's $5 right there. So it'll be around $11.60 or $10.60, somewhere around that. Of course, you're not trying to find out to the penny when you're just going through shopping. You're trying to find out how much you're spending. And that's how you find that out. Percentage, the Walmart equation, I do test you on this a good bit. So out of the work, in chapter 3, or whatever chapter we're in, what chapter are we in? 5? In 11.1, taxes, tips, discounts, Walmart equation. She got spared some money. Got the books too. All right. So let's say you go to Outback. That's my favorite restaurant.
They have this new steak that's wrapped in bacon.
No, you don't do that. You don't do that stuff.
Are you kidding me?
You don't put
Do you
anything
get
on
their
it.
macaroni and cheese at the dollar extra?
You go get grandma food. Stop. I don't want to go to grandma food. Outback.
I'll go get ribs in the pumpernickel bread.
The only thing I go to Outback for is the prime rib, and I get the biggest one, and I don't even care about size.
That's what I had
Covers
for
up the whole plate.
graduation.
That's all I get. All right, so we go to Outback, and we get 2 meals. We got appetizer. Gotta have onion. Dang old blooming onion. So we get a blooming onion. Not blooming, that's blooming onion. Refreshments. We order our food, 2 meals. And of course we gotta get that dang old chocolate, dang old ice cream, dang old brownie. Gotta get that. And we may get a couple more refreshments. Okay? So we get that, and we got a great, you can't call them waitresses or waitresses anymore, you call them servers, yeah. The politically correct term. The waitress or the waiter brings us bill, and the bill, let's see, 8, let's say that refreshment, say got 2 refreshments each, that'd be about 16, 32, 50, so close to 70, 80, and then some more refreshments, that'd be another 20. So about 105, 150, let's say 115. Okay, $115, and you want to leave that waitress or waiter, because I don't use politically correct terms, you want to use that waiter or waitress, you want to give them a good tip. Let's say you want to give you don't want to give 25%, but 20% is a good tip. Let's say you give 23%. You want to give them 23% because you want them to know that they did a good job, but you want to give them a little bit extra. So what is the final tally on the bill? And then we'll do one opposite, and then you see if you could tell what the total price was. I have no idea how to do it. Well, 10% would be 11.5. 11.5 would be 23 bucks. 23 bucks. 26. I'd say 26 bucks is going to be around it. So 26 would be 141. I'd say it's around 141 bucks.
You are correct. 141.
Give or take some change. So 115 plus 0.23 times 115 is equal to 1. Now, can somebody tell me what practical application this can have? Because not everybody goes Outback. But what else is added to the total? Taxes. Okay? So 115. Somebody give me your calculated, because I did estimate. Give me 23% times 115. Give me the two decimal places. What is it? I'm sorry, what? 26.45. And that comes out to be 141.45. Now, of course, you probably make it even 150, but you know you're at least giving them what? 23%. Question, gripe, complaint. All right? So let's say you go to Mom and Pa's and you're out on a date, you go to Mom and Pa's fish house. Yeah, Mama Pins. And you order, they don't have refreshments at mine, you just get tea. So, 2 teas, 2 meals, and they have apple pie, so you just get two apple pies. Do you know I've lived in Anderson all my life, and I've only eaten at Mama Pim's one time, and I didn't like it. Never went back. And people go crazy over it. I guess because I had a mama that would outcook Mama Pim's any day of the week, and that's probably why I don't. Just like Skins. Have you ever had one of my mama's hot dogs? Is it her chili that she makes, and it's red? It's not beige. I don't believe it's beige chili. Have you ever seen beige chili up there? I mean, it's beige. It's yeah. And if you took my mama's hot dog, it'd be looking like this. I've learned how to do her chili too. I can't draw crap, but anyway, I know this is like not having anything to do with. There's the bun and hot dog, and then my mama puts chili on like this thick, and it's like sitting. I mean, you grab it, it just like falls off. And here's a Skins hot dog, and it's got that pink weenie, and then you got that beige chili. That's what a Skins hot dog looks like. I'm sorry, there's no comparison. Yeah, exactly. And another thing, I will not buy weenies at the grocery store that turns the water pink. Have you ever had that? You are eating parts of animals if you're doing that, because that's nasty. Anyway, dang old food coloring. Now, I have no idea. Oh, that's Mama Pins. I've never eaten one at Mama Pins. Now, you get there and you eat there, and the bill, she don't even ask you for a tip. She goes ahead and what? Puts it in there, and that dang old $4, dang old $16 for 20 plus $3, $4 there, so $24, we'll say $25. And she goes in, she throws in $30.20. And down at the bottom of the ticket, you see that our servers automatically do 20% tip.
That's bullshit.
She always did that to me.
We're going to censor that.
No.
Aldo included, okay, 15%.
I had the worst waiter ever at Olive Garden, and I just wanted to punch him in between the genitalias.
I'll tell you. Let's censor that too.
I don't feel comfortable.
And he tipped himself like 20%, which was like $15. I was like, drop over and...
I went to, first time I was stationed in Quantico, Virginia. Me and my buddy Dutton went out to an establishment, got something to eat, and it was a bar. And the bartender took our $20 bill, and guess what? She kept it. And of course, Dutton's worse than I am. I'm a big tipper compared to Dutton. Dutton gives like quarters, okay? Dutton said, hey, wait a minute, where's my change? And so people up north, they automatically just take the change and help get back to it. Anyway, that's what she did. She did this. And I want to know the price of the meal. Well, again, the only way you can do this without doing 2 or 3 steps is the percentage in Walmart place. X plus or minus percentage X is equal to total. Now, are you adding a tip or subtracting a tip? You're adding, so that's going to be X plus 0.15X is equal to what? 30/20? So that's 1.15. If somebody take 30/20 and divide it by 1.15, somebody give me that number. 1.15. 26.26. So the meal costs $26. When you've given her basically a $5 tip, or almost, $4 tip.
What gets me is they automatically think
Yep.
I saw that once. I don't know where it was, but my mom really pushed it.
that happened to me at Chili's one time.
You got to read that receipt.